I recently got this bed from my neighbor for $125. He was moving out of state and he wasn't able to sell it at a higher price before it was time for him to go, so he offered it to me and I happily accepted. This bed, while it's an older version, is a Disney princess bed that's still sold today at Rooms to Go for $1,200, not including delivery and setup. The newer models have this heart-shaped design on the headboard and footboard, while mine has this carved floral design, and I think I like mine a little better. I also have these two side rails in addition to the headboard and footboard, so I've got a lot of work to do. Summer in Texas brings heat and a chorus of cicadas to act as the background music for this video. I started working about 5:30 in the evening, hoping for cooler temperatures, but it was still 97 degrees with the humidity making it feel like 109. It probably wasn't the best idea, but I needed to get this project done. The first thing I needed to do was remove all of the excess dust that had collected in the detailed areas of the bed. I feel like it's easier to take this extra step rather than to deal with this extra dirt smearing around or getting gummed up in the deeper areas once everything is sprayed down during the cleaning process. To clean this project, I'm using LA's Totally Awesome Cleaner and Degreaser. It has a variety of uses with water to cleaner ratios on the back. I'm mixing a 10:1 water to cleaner ratio to use as a general purpose cleaner. I do not recommend this product to clean your wooden furniture at home. It will deglaze the wood's finish, ruining its luster over time. The only reason I use these types of cleaners on my project is because I'm already about to ruin the finish with paint anyhow. I got this cleaner at Dollar Tree for $1.25, and considering the 10:1 ratio that I'll be using it at, it's going to last me forever. With all of my cleaning done, I removed the hardware from the side rails so they wouldn't be in the way. Then I took a break for a few hours to cool off before starting the sanding step. To sand this piece, I'm using a Surf Prep 3x4 detail sander with a fine grit, thin, spongy sanding pad. I chose this thin pad rather than the thicker sponge pad because I can get into all of the detailed areas a bit better without the pad ripping to shreds. I'm only going to do enough sanding to scuff up the original paint job so that my paint isn't trying to stick to a glossy finish. I do enjoy how quiet this sander is compared to other sanders. Living in a suburban neighborhood, it really comes in handy when I need to work at night. If you're interested in this sander, I'll have a link in the description along with a discount code. I do receive a small percentage of sander or sandpaper purchases using that code, so thank you for your support. With the video footage sped up like this, it looks like all of this work is much easier than it really is. When I record these videos, I keep my two shop fans turned off so we can hear the sounds of the shop, so it's a lot hotter than it should be. Prep work is a constant workout of the legs, arms, and especially the lower back, so in reality, I'm doing several hot yoga sessions in a 100-degree plastic room fit for Dexter, and you can tell by the look on my face when I'm done that I'm exhausted and over it. Although my sanding is done, I still need to clean up all of this leftover dust, but that wasn't going to happen tonight. It's the next morning. It was just too hot last night, even at like 10-11 p.m. It was still like 99 degrees in here. It's 7 a.m. and it's 86 degrees, a lot cooler than it was last night, but it's forecasted to get to 103 today, so I'm gonna get after this. Just like the first time I dusted, I'm only trying to get the sanding dust out of the detailed areas so that when I wipe it down again, this dust doesn't smear up or cake around the recessed areas. Then all I need to do is one final wipe down, but with water this time. This ensures I won't have any specks of dust in my paint job and that the paint has a good surface to adhere to. When I first shared this bed on my Facebook page, I had some comments saying to leave it white and just add gold to the detailed areas. I entertained this idea by adding gold to this floral decoration here, but I feel like I do gold on everything. I wasn't feeling it on this one, so I continued with my original plan. Pink. This is the leftover paint from the pink and gold dresser video that I did a while back. It's made by Bear. The color is called Beauty Queen. And this is paint by Black & Decker that I found at a discount store called Ollie's. I've never used it before, but I needed some cheap white paint, and at $15 a gallon, I decided to give it a try. I wasn't totally sure of the exact pink that I wanted, but I knew that I wanted it much lighter, so I started cutting the hot pink with the white. I had plans to do a piece with several tones of pink, so I kept track of the colors I was creating and set them aside for future use, adding more and more white until I was happy. This light pink looked like it was going to be the one, but when it dried, it was still a bit too dark. So I added the rest of the white, then transferred everything to the newer white paint can, so I didn't have to worry about the old dried paint skin clogging up my sprayer. This is my Graco Magnum paint sprayer that is sat in the same water-based polyurethane that I used to top coat my last project. Normally, you'd clean the system after every use, but I found if I'm switching from a light color or clear like water-based polyurethane, I don't really need to clean the system right away. When I prime the system with the pink, the leftover polyurethane in the hoses will be pushed out, replaced by the new color. This isn't recommended by the manufacturer, of course, but they also claim the system's only to be used once or twice a month. But at one point, I used to use 2 of these sprayers for 8 to 12 hours a day. They can take some abuse before needing to be replaced, which is trivial compared to the amount of money this sprayer earns in that time. Once the system is primed and pressurized, I just need to reinstall the gun's spray tip. Then I'll make sure the gun isn't clogged and spraying correctly by testing it out on the wall before spraying it on my project. Instead of removing the old labels or painting over them, I decided to tape them up so that they could be used in the future. Probably not needed, but who knows. Now that all the boring stuff is out of the way, it's time to lay down some paint. I usually start by applying thin coats to make sure that I don't get any runs and drips. Here's what the first coat looks like whenever it's still wet. Detailed areas like this will need more attention on the next pass, which is normal. It's 10 p.m., but it's still over 90 degrees here in the garage, which is great for drying times. It only took about 10 or 15 minutes for this first coat to be dry and ready for another coat. This paint was covering really well over the white. I was able to get away with only spraying 2 coats to get full coverage. Along with the high temperatures and the fast dry times, the painting step is a breeze compared to the prep work, and in a fraction of the time. Once the backs were finished, I flipped everything around and repeated the process. 2 coats with about 15 minutes between each coat. Whenever I'm painting something with two sides like beds or furniture doors, I use a folded rag to protect the fresh paint on the other side from sticking to the wall. I had a small issue here where I accidentally squeezed the trigger and caused the paint to splatter a bit on the bed. Instead of panicking, I continued my coat, then dabbed any dots of paint with my finger, knowing they'd mostly smooth out as the paint dried. Then I can come back with a second coat and hide any imperfections. This is the last coat of paint, sped up for your enjoyment. Once I was done, I let everything dry overnight, then checked for any imperfections before I moved on to top coat. I'll be using Varathane water-based polyurethane and a semi-gloss sheen to protect this project. Here's another shortcut for this sprayer that isn't in the manual. I use a water bottle with holes punched in the top to clean off the intake tube. Just like priming the system with paint earlier, I'm not going to fully flush the system. The intake tube will suck up the clear poly, push out the pink, and when I see white, which is the color of the polyurethane, I know it's good to go. But I only do this whenever I'm top coating directly over the same color that I just sprayed. If I had applied gold or did glazing, this wouldn't work because the poly will have a tiny tint of pink for the first coat. This tinting doesn't matter whenever I'm spraying over the same color though. I replaced the tip again to give it a test on the wall to make sure I've got most of the pink out of the system. This first part here still has a lot of pink. These parts here are clear, so we're good to go. Spraying water-based polyurethane is a bit different from spraying paint. It's thinner, so it has the potential to sag and drip and can discolor in the future if you apply it too thick. For these reasons, I tend to apply 2 or 3 light misted coats, then one final thicker coat. These first coats are bumpy and rough and act as a tack coat for the last coat to stick to. Once the last coat is applied, it dries really smooth but isn't thick enough that it risks yellowing. Here's what the first coat looks like right after it's applied. If you look at the glare, you can see the bumpy texture that it has. Here's the second coat, sped up for your enjoyment. I'm not going to show the backs being done because it's kind of redundant at this point. Here's the third and final coat. Notice how I'm moving my arm much slower so that I can achieve that thicker, smooth finish. Here's the last coat drying. This last coat will take about 15 minutes to dry, but probably shouldn't be used for about 24 to 72 hours. After everything was dry enough to handle, I removed them from the paint cans and I'm done. That's it. No gold, no glazing, just keeping this one simple. There might be someone out there that's looking for something simple and clean. In the meantime, if someone wants the edges done in silver, gold, white, or whatever, those things can be easily added, including the extra price for the added labor. For those of you wondering if this bed, or the pink dresser, or the red dresser have sold yet, the answer is they're not for sale yet until I finish my website. So keep an eye out, it should be live soon. Let me know what you think about this bed. I hope you enjoyed this furniture makeover, and if you did, make sure to subscribe to my channel, like, comment, and share with your friends. Thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all again soon.